welcome back to the Bar Shift. And today we're talking about how small business can win in a world full of new rules and big changes. Now, our guest today is Serge G. Serge has spent over 20 years working high-level roles at big energy companies and managing director of ALECA Solutions. Serge?
Thank you for having me on the podcast, Joshua. Much appreciated. Sure. So ALECA Solutions, based in Kuala Lumpur in Canada, we do emissions auditing for small to medium enterprise. And then we take it a little further. We do ESG reporting, sustainability stories around your company. And then we also facilitate the purchase. We also facilitate the purchase of carbon offsets. And then we also have a carbon neutral logo that we give to our clients, mostly small to medium enterprise, for those companies that purchase offsets. So we kind of a solution provider in the sustainability space.
Impressive, man. And you said you basically have a lot of experience building trust for like, new brands and crowded space. And so how does it having, a background in traditional energy operations give you an edge to more different decision makers about ESG transitions?
Yeah. So when I worked in the energy industry, we worked on big projects, obviously, and we were part of the leadership team. After 30 years in the industry, you tend to lead those decisions in fairly large investments. And being involved in those types of meetings, those types of decision-making processes, when you land in a small to medium enterprise, you're dealing with the entrepreneur who is very much the board. He or she is the beginning and the end of the decision-making process. So although it's a smaller company and maybe smaller investment decisions, it is still just as critical for the business. The business can survive and grow, or it could die based on those business decisions. So it's exactly the same. It's just at a different quantum of financial investment, but the implications are just as large. So I think that translates quite well in dealing with small to medium enterprise. Also, I've also been an entrepreneur my whole life. I've always wanted to be in a small business. So even from an energy point of view, I was in large companies. I always enjoyed going and working in smaller offices or going and working for smaller energy companies ultimately. So I think that's where my comfort zone is being close to the decision maker and having those discussions around what's the right decision going forward.
You said you've always been entrepreneurial. Where did your entrepreneurial journey, where did that start?
Well, I think it started almost as soon as I got out of university. I went to some different companies over the years, and I always enjoyed being part of that group of individuals in the company that were responsible for something. So I always sought out the position where I had a large amount of responsibility. So that was the first position I noticed that I really enjoyed. The next one was being involved in the decision-making process. Even young in my career, when I seemingly knew it all, when you first start out, you're pretty gung-ho, but you end up learning from the more seasoned people in the office on how to make decisions. How do you decide to go into a new country, or how do you decide to purchase another asset or to purchase another company or to invest in a very large energy project? So I was always curious about those decision-making processes. And that led me to believe that I just wanted to be an entrepreneur. I wanted to be part of that decision-making process. And large companies wasn't really my thing, because the decision-making process was always deferred to the higher and higher and higher ups, right up to the board level. I really feel at home in amongst the SMEs, the small to medium enterprise, because they are the decision maker. So when you talk to them, it's a straight talk about where to go from here with respect to the sustainability journey is the one I'm talking about now with those SMEs, but you can talk about anything, how to expand the business, how to buy out a rival, how to sell off something that's not working, So those decision-making processes have always been interesting to me.
Geographic change, because we spoke of kind of highlights from by the moment we're in Asia, we're in Thailand. That's the reason why we're here to expand the business. But of course, we're working together. But you're from Canada, Malaysia, to build ALECA. So, how has that geographic shift influenced your perspective on, global compliance spaces?
Yeah. So you mentioned global compliance. It's like the success of any small business, for instance, is about exporting your product, having another country buy your product. It's very honorable. It's a great pursuit because you're right. Competing locally is very competitive. It's very competitive. You need an edge. But the moment you have enough product and your product is good enough quality, you're going to want to export. And we're seeing that across Southeast Asia. So even though we talk about, well, it's a local community of producers, it's a local community of small to medium enterprise, every single one of them is looking to export. So having moved the business, I guess, from Canada to Malaysia, you see that the same demands for compliance exist in Malaysia as they do in Canada, as they do in Europe. It's the same demand for compliance. And that globalization of a product, you're competing. It doesn't matter what you're doing, even in the restaurant industry, you're competing with the lowest cost operator globally, whether you like it or not. So you have to, there's always the expression, think global, but act local. I firmly believe that companies need to prepare themselves to act global, to think globally at all times. And we mentioned that the other day when we spoke about the different regulations from every country. It's like, well, that affects you if you want to export your product. And the compliance standards on sustainability are so similar in all nations. They don't pick them out of a hat. They copy and paste a lot of these procedures and compliance and frameworks such that it's not that difficult to make sure you're compliant to any nation. So that's my answer to you. Long-winded, I know.
I feel like you have a very smart way of actually working. So instead of chasing like small businesses one by one, you actually work with people. So like when they come under pressure, so, they don't necessarily just pop up quickly. How are you positioning?
So ALECA is trying to help firms globally as well, right? So we are a global player. So we're having conversations like this in Canada, in the US, in France, in Austria, in Italy, across Southeast Asia, Malaysia, Singapore, mostly. We had a client in Australia, New Zealand. So yeah, even though we're based in Malaysia, we recognize that being based in Malaysia is a cost advantage, first and foremost. Everyone speaks English very well, and are very well educated. But from there is a great hop-off point for ALECA itself to consult to any nation. We keep talking at ALECA like there's 200 countries in the world, and we want to reach into all 200 to the SMEs, to the small to medium enterprise. So we bring that to our clients as well. So even though we're working locally in Malaysia, we bring that aspect of if you want to send product to Australia or you're importing some of your supply chain from Australia, here's the issues that we see, right? Or quite often it's from China or Japan or Korea. But so I'd say we position ourselves as a global entity. We very much have the global mindset as a team, and we want to try to bring that to every client. It doesn't matter what country they're in.
You mentioned partners, they actually care more about client success on, commissions and the world of video. So how do you tend to foster that also trust with?
Yeah, so right now, ALECA wants to get into as many small to medium enterprise as we can. And having one meeting at a time is challenging because there's only so many hours in a day. So we are pushing into that B2B space where we're partnering with a local firm, whether it's in Malaysia, Singapore, wherever, Canada here. I'm trying to get some partnerships started where we get introduced to all the clients of, say, an accounting firm or an HR payroll firm. And those conversations, are an exploration on how we can really collaborate, because they won't risk their reputation, nor will they risk their client base. So the first thing is always like, we're not in competition. We're not trying to steal. We're not an accounting business. We're in the emissions reporting business, or ESG sustainability business. We're not a competitor. So that's the first thing to make clear. The next thing is to have them believe that their clients may have this headache, because from a B2B, from a B2B point of view, we see SMEs having this headache, but maybe they don't talk to their clients in that way. They talk about their expertise, accounting and finance and tax reporting. But their clients may indeed have this headache, but they're not approaching their accountant about it, right? They have an ESG reporting headache or a sustainability reporting headache, but they're not going to pick up the phone and call their accountant about it. So that's where we're trying to get that trust, where we're not in competition. And the second thing is, we're trying to raise your game. We're trying to bring more tools to your toolbox to solve as many headaches to your clients as possible. Because there's always that scenario where a headache for one of their clients, and they start searching for a solution. And let's say they find a solution, but it comes bundled with an accounting firm as well. Well, now they're going to lose their client to another accounting firm that provides also ESG reporting or sustainability reporting. And yet they could have solved that problem for their client because they had a long-standing relationship. So yeah, it's a journey of building that trust where you're not in competition. The second thing, you're not going to risk their reputation as an accountant. And the third thing is, do you even talk to your clients to find out what headaches they have? Because they don't call you when they have a headache with the supply chain headache or a procurement headache. Yeah. Yeah.
I wanted to talk about technology. So of course you see a lot of people, but you see AI as a survival tool for entrepreneurs, not just a fun feature. So you say that you've used AI to cut tasks from 60 minutes down to 2. What was?
Yeah, so AI, man, AI. So I know it's the latest buzz, but we've really been working in the energy industry. We've been trying to incorporate AI for the past 10 years, I would say, from an energy point of view. So we've always tried to reduce the amount of time it takes to get basic things done. So when we try to simplify our process, we've been doing that for 10 years. And if we can take something that takes an hour and do it in a few minutes, that's the best. That's always been our mantra in that level of optimization. It's almost ingrained in professionals in the energy industry because it's so competitive. So then we land today. Today it's the tools are free of charge. Essentially, you got, Gemini, Copilot, Claude, ChatGPT, of course. But all of these are free of charge all of a sudden, when back 10 years ago, you used to have to pay for it a lot of money and try to incorporate it in your work processes. So today, pretty much every minute of the day you have it open and you're trying to review, writing text is a good one. You're trying to incorporate it every minute of the day to try to shave time and do more. So as a human being, your capacity for doing more today is outstanding compared to where it was 5 years ago with just free applications. If you pay for it, it gets even better. So we've been at ALECA, we've been trying agentic AI and building longer scripts to really take over a process that takes an hour. If we can run a script and it takes only a minute or two or even less, that's where we're heading. We've been doing that for years in Microsoft Excel. We build macros, we do all sorts of things. We drop in text files, comma separated, files, and then we run a macro. So it's a standard process in our industry, but now we're doing it with agentic AI, and definitely we're seeing the productivity level of a small team going through the roof. And if you're not doing this as a company, I don't think you're going to survive. Your cost is going to be too high. It's a huge benefit to consumers. AI is a massive benefit to consumers because costs are coming down. It really is. Yeah.
I feel like with the fact that you are able to get, certain, like, for example, so the productivity's gone up by a great load, right? You're able to get work done a whole lot faster. And if you're able to get work done a whole lot faster, it's not just, the internal work, it's the work that you're also doing for clients as well. So if you're able to get work done for clients faster, the element of trust that you're able to probably build with them because you are moving with speed, it must be.
Yeah. So that's a big part of it. Again, the consumer, it's a client. The client is a consumer of our services. So they're going to see cost coming down and quality hopefully going up. And if the quality isn't there, they'll move off to someone else. So it's our job to make sure that the quality still stays there. So again, automating a small piece of your process, to make you more productive. And the moment you free up time, you tend to spend more time on, QCing the end result. So often when you feel rushed in the olden days, you would write something all night and then you would rush the quality control in 10 minutes and you pre-read it. But really you should be the other way around. It should be written in about 10 minutes or less, and you should quality control it all evening and just rewrite it and optimize it. So especially with text, especially with reports, I find that if you can write it all in 10 minutes and then spend 8 hours QCing it and rewriting it and making sure everything's connected properly, that is far better than the way it was 10 years ago, where you wrote it all night and you spent only 10 minutes QCing and you missed something, right? So with clients, I would say the benefit is cost is going to come down. So yeah, they have to be able to trust it. Otherwise, you're going to lose that client. But the trust part is on you providing that service. And again, I think we have a lot more time to QC things. The quality control, you have a little more breathing room to QC.
Well, I know you don't have a crystal ball, but if you so with the use of artificial intelligence, if you want to look at it from outer lenses, the capabilities are crazy. Let's just say there was no limit with what you could do with AI. For you to use your creative mind, what would you do with AI? And what would you use it for if there was no limit? Benefit and lack. Besides no time, there was no limit.
If there was no limit to AI, right? Well, it would be like the reporting process. Quite often, if we could automate so much of our daily life almost in the sense that not automated like I automatically drink a coffee, but automatically the spending, how we spend our money, and then how that gets reported within our own financial infrastructure of the company. If there could be an ultimate level of AI for that, I think that would spit out, emissions reports very quickly, because you could pick up a product and you knew exactly the supply chain that it came from. So ultimately that'd be great, where the QR code or the barcode on every product gave you just beyond information, because everything gets relabeled, everything gets repackaged. So if you could, use AI for that benefit to give the ultimate of transparency on, consumerism, I guess would be, it would solve a lot of problems. The press of a button, you could get a full, sustainability report for a company, for a human being, just based on what they spent. And you know exactly the products, whether they were local, what percentage were local, what percentage were made here within 5 kilometers, 10 kilometers of your house, versus something that came 5,000 kilometers away or 10,000 kilometers away in the case of Canada. I think that'd be pretty cool. Maybe we're heading that way. I don't know. Maybe we are heading that way.
I was about to say the same thing. I truthfully believe that, yeah, we are heading that way. The capabilities of AI is there. Some of the things people are building with like code for so low is, well, it blows my mind. So yeah, it's interesting to see where the space is going to be going. And it's changing all like something super, super fast. So I'm super happy that I've signed up to a mailing list which gives me the latest updates. And of course, there's a few cool guys on LinkedIn and social media, just on social media platforms that give the latest stuff. But, finally, I will say I wanted to talk about, how you share your message. And you actually started, Electric Church during COVID. And, you showed that you really understood the power of, the microphone. So, yeah, talk to me about that. You starting, YouTube during, the pandemic. What did that experience teach you about, B2B buyers?
Yeah, so COVID was the perfect time to launch a podcast, right? As you know, we couldn't do face-to-face meetings. There were restrictions to travel even at the time around Kuala Lumpur. So we started ALECA Talks, and just as to market ALECA, essentially. And it wasn't a sales pitch during ALECA Talks. It was inviting people in to discuss sustainability. I even forget what our pitch line was, but it was, leaders for a sustainable future was our pitch line. And so it had nothing to do with reporting or ESG reporting or emissions auditing. In fact, we didn't even talk about that. We just invited leaders in who were sustainability officers or people that were trying to reduce emission. Decarbonization was a big subject back then. So we started it as a team. I was hosting it for a while, and then another colleague took over and hosted for a while. We did almost 20 episodes, one every 2 weeks. And I wish we would have continued, because by the end we had lots of views and we had lots of people attending, and they were live at the time. But of course we would record it and polish it up and put it on our YouTube channel for a 1 hour block. But I wish we would have continued it. We would have hundreds of episodes by now. But we stopped when COVID shut down and we started meeting people in person again. And so we felt that there was no need. But in reality, it was a great way to disarm people, especially leaders in companies. They would gladly come and speak about their sustainability story. And I say it now, I've started another channel called the Boring ESG Guy as well, where I talk about every small to medium enterprise has a beautiful sustainability story. You just have to tell people, what you do, how energy efficient your company is, how you treat your employees, how you get involved in your community. So when you invite people on a podcast or even just to talk briefly on some of my reels, which are coming up, I'm going to be meeting people and talking about their sustainability journey. I think it disarms them in a way where they get to show the good things they're doing. There's no real sales pitch involved. So it's more or less just raising the profile of them, make it about them. It's all about them. But at the same time, ALECA gets to be shown as someone in this space and active in this space, as opposed to running ads to raise our profile.
Yeah, you kind of experience that skepticism about paid ads, getting sort of like gamified. So, yeah, why do you believe, that? Well, you kind of already answered that question there. But yeah, what would you say is the difference between, paid ads and, of course, the podcasting message? I feel like I know the answer, but I think it's...
Yeah, so paid ads, I mean, there's just so many out there. It's hard to compete. If you click on, click on something like ESG reporting on a paid ad, and you just get fed hundreds of paid ads, and you have no idea who these companies are in reality. They just pop up. So to me, the branding part is more important than getting your ad in front of them. If they don't know who ALECA is, they're going to go, what is this? Who's ALECA? And so building a brand and marketing your expertise I think it's far more profitable or far better ROI with a podcast. Guaranteed. Why? Because you're building that trust and that authority, and it takes time. It takes time. You know, I wish we would have continued ALECA talks, but I feel that the advertisement space, you can pay $1,000 a month and get your advertisement out there. But if it doesn't reach the right people, or even worse, it reaches the right people, but they don't know you, then it's really a loss of money. It really is. You can only run ads when you're a known entity. Really. I'll be honest. You know, a McDonald's ads comes up, you know McDonald's, or Coca-Cola, you know Coca-Cola, or in our industry, there's McKinsey or Ernst & Young or KPMG. If they show up on an ad, you know who they are. But if ALECA shows up, people don't know us yet. So I don't think it's as effective for small to medium enterprise. A podcast, content, being seen as the authority, far better investment of your time. And it costs money, right? Time is, but I think it's a better investment than advertising.
Yeah, I totally understand. And you know what? I really want that. Like, if you want to say paid ads, I could say the podcast 10 times over, but yeah, get the drift on. It's a lot easier for, you know, someone that knows an established brand when they see ad as an ethical company with the golden arch. You know what I'm saying? So, versus a company that is, you know, big or, you know, a new fast food chain. Yeah, a replicated kind of that symbol. They'll probably choose what they want. I know we are still in April, approaching May, almost approaching half of the year. What would you say is in the pipeline for, you know, ALECA Solutions, you know, looking ahead for the rest of the year?
So right now we're very much focusing on B2B. So we're trying to get quality conversations with accounting firms, HR firms, payroll firms, and trying to access thousands of SME. Because really, SMEs, they're not all in market for our services yet. We need to find them. And that's a challenge. So we need that introduction. So far we've signed 3 B2B deals with industry associations, an HR payroll firm. So thank you very much. We're proud of that. So now we're trying to leverage into that space with them and be introduced to all their clients. And again, through the boring ESG guys, we're going to restart maybe ALECA talks soon. And basically very much focusing on that. So part of the team is focusing on getting into those companies and the SMEs associated with those B2B relationships established. And we need to sign more. We need a pipeline of more B2B. So a little bit of more countries, Singapore, Canada. We're looking at the US, and we're looking at Germany. Strange enough, Germany is interested. So yeah, we have B2B conversations happening, and you have to layer them because it takes a while. You know, it takes a few months. You meet once, twice, 3 times, maybe up to 5 times to get over that hurdle. But once you get in, then it's a long-term relationship, right? We work with them for years to brand ALECA through their services. So it's a meaningful partnership. And that's what we're looking forward to the rest of the year. More. I think we have a goal of 10.
Nice.
That's a big goal when we only have 3 and it's April.
Well, this is the beautiful thing about it is that you know what you are aiming for. If you didn't have the target, that would have been like almost just trying to.
You can't manage what you can't measure, right? Isn't that the expression? You can't manage what you can't measure.
So, let the people know where they can find you, where they can reach out to you. For example, like the talks, just, tell people where they can find you.
Sure. We are on all social media, right? Instagram, Facebook, TikTok, LinkedIn. We've been lucky. I think we're all at the same at ALECA SDN BHD. SDN BHD is kind of the limited company of Malaysia. So ALECA SDN BHD. We're on LinkedIn. Most often I'm there as well. We also have another channel that we started called The Boring ESG Guy. That's me walking around quite often, talking about energy and sustainability. It's a hot topic with everything going on in the world today, but you can follow me as well at The Boring ESG Guy. Contact us if you want to be on our podcast as well, or contact us. I'll come and talk to you at The Boring ESG Guy. I'll walk by your business and give you some free advertising. And maybe you can tell me about your sustainability or tag me, and I'll come and find me, and I'll get you on the podcast, or I'll get you on our reels, our Instagram reels.
That's, I absolutely love it. And so, yeah, I'll be linking everything in the description for you guys to check out. And yeah, you can do a good job searching it and know what phone. Yeah, so thank you so much for sharing your story and expertise with us today. I would say it's been a pleasure. It's always been a pleasure speaking with you. Yeah, you have great energy, always upbeat, always positive. I know it's late where you are, it's morning where I am. So, yeah.
We traded places in a way. I was in KL a few weeks ago and I came to Calgary. You were in London, I think, and now you're in Southeast Asia. So, but it was a pleasure, Joshua. Thank you very much. You're very kind. You're very knowledgeable. And, yeah, it was a pleasure talking to you today.
Nice.